Hello, everyone. Ryan Rodriguez back on another episode of Cal Maritime Career Services Konnecting Keelhaulers show. Today, we are joined by Ryan Mack, a GSMA grad from the class of 2019. Ryan, thanks so much for taking some time out of your day to speak with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. Ryan's currently an operations specialist for Curtin Maritime in Long Beach, a position he started just over a year ago. Before that, in between graduation and Curtin, he was kind of bouncing around. He worked a little bit as a sous chef, figured out where he wanted to end up, and now he's at Curtin. He was up here at the fall career fair. He'll be back for the spring one coming up in a couple weeks on March 3rd. So Ryan, let's dive in a little bit to kind of your background and stuff. So first question is, what brought you to Cal Maritime, and how did you decide on the Global Studies and Maritime Affairs major?
So I first toured Cal Maritime in eighth grade. And my mom took me around and showed me the campus, and then I ended up going out for the day on the bay. So that was my first experience with Cal Maritime, and I thought that I wanted to do something with like working in the deck sphere of things, but I quickly discovered my love for public policy, and I think that drove me towards the major that I chose, which was Global Studies and Maritime Affairs. So that's my first experience with Cal Maritime, and a little bit about like the major, I guess I chose. Yeah.
Cool. So, you were, internship's big part of the whole Cal Maritime curriculum and everything. So what did you do for your internship? And then how did it help you as you started to kind of figure out what you wanted to do post-graduation?
So the internship for me was a very awesome experience because at a certain point, global studies students stopped sailing on board the Golden Bear, and that's something that I really wanted to do. So I ended up actually being the Pirates Cove manager on board the Golden Bear, and that was an excellent experience. I learned a whole lot, working with Sam Pacoda every single day, counting the money to learning how to take accurate inventories, and just regular shipboard life, keeping a clean room. All those sorts of things were very important and very transformative. So I'd say that the internship helped shape me in a positive way for a job post-graduation, and really allowed me to actually explore my love of sailing. Whereas, maybe a shoreside operations internship or something, or a government internship just wouldn't have allowed that. So,
Gotcha. Yeah. Gotcha. Nice. And you're actually the second global studies student that I've interviewed that was the Pirates Cove manager as well for their internship, and then ended up doing some sailing. Yeah. It was Jamie Matos, who I think she graduated 2016.
Must have been before my time.
Yeah. And she ended up, she worked for like Hornblower Cruise Line, and she ended up working for American Cruise Line as a purser for a little bit before the pandemic kind of shut down the whole cruise line industry. So
gotcha.
Definitely interesting. So jumping now to what you're currently doing as an operations specialist, just explain kind of more about what a typical day like is for you, what your responsibilities are, and then just overall, how'd you find Curtin Maritime and end up landing a job there?
Okay, well, I guess maybe we'll start with how. Do you want me to start with how I started working at Curtin Maritime?
Yeah, let's do that, and then we'll flow into that.
Okay, I started applying just on Indeed. I started looking at maritime companies, and I actually applied for a marine carpenter position here at Curtin just over a year ago now. And I got denied that because they said I was overqualified for the position, and they said that I had a little bit too much experience, especially with my degree.
Mm-hmm.
They were looking for more labor stuff, and I sent them an email back and said, no, I would like to do this. I'd like to do the labor portion. And then I started working on a crane barge. Maybe fast forward a week, I started working on a crane barge doing pretty much what the deckies do in ship ops. Gotcha. Needle gunning, prepping paint surfaces, clearing rust, moving really heavy mooring lines, and anything else that a labor position in a shipyard would usually do. So I did that for a few months. And then on the side, myself and some of my friends research and write papers. And our CEO caught wind of that and asked us to write him a Jones Act inquiry paper over a weekend. And we did that for him. And now I work in the office. So that's a little bit of my background. Day-to-day office stuff, I usually get in every single morning right around 6:15 or so, and check on the status of our tugs KVH systems, which are just their satellite systems. Check on our Helm Connect, which is our vessel management system, and then start doing punch list stuff, whether that's like Furuno radars or monitoring and helping fix our vessels' computer systems or pulling cables or the like. I've also recently been to Louisiana for the better part of a month, prepping a crew boat, a bare bones crew boat that we just bought to come back to the West Coast, and dealing with some Coast Guard COI, COD stuff as well. So it's a little bit about what I do. Here at Curtin, we kind of do everything. So you know, it's not necessarily a set schedule, but I keep myself within the
parameters.
Frame of reference.
I got you. I got to ask you. You're writing policy papers. Is that just a side hobby that you like to do? How'd you kind of get into that?
So funny enough, at the end of college, I was terrible, or the end of high school, sorry, not the end of college. The end of high school, I was terrible at writing papers. I couldn't even write a 5-page research paper to save my life. And Dr. Donna Ninsick and Dr. Aziz Malakis have really jump-started the fact that I like reading and researching what's going on in the geopolitical realm, and also like CFRs interest me. So I've started reading into the Code of Federal Regulations, why things are written the way that they are, and why the law is the way that it is, why the Jones Act is the original Merchant Mariner Act from 1906, and why that was enacted. And I've got a group of like-minded global studies friends that also are really interested in policy. One of them also works here. His name is Mack. He's another 2019 GSMA grad. Nice. And he solely works with our legal department and doing this sort of policy stuff. So I still get to dip my hands in a little bit, but I like to tinker a little bit more. So I get to do more operations side.
Cool. I was going to say, kind of seeing how that interest kind of helped with your work and stuff.
So most definitely. I mean, the interest with the policy stuff goes into understanding how and why the Coast Guard rules on certain things. You've got, I work at a Curtin Maritime as a tug and barge operator, and we have a bunch of towboats, and why the rate, like when a Coast Guard inspector walks on board a vessel, they read from the Code of Federal Regulations, and it's up to their interpretation, but the law is the law. So like you can read a certain fire pump has to be sized for a certain sized vessel, and you can interpret it however you want, but at the end of the day, like the law says it has to be X large for X amount of vessel. So that sort of like, I guess, definitive, like end all be all of maritime laws is really interesting to me, and really helps in our day-to-day operations here, I think. So
gotcha. Cool. So being that you're on kind of an atypical route for most global studies graduates, and you've kind of touched on it a little bit, but anything else, like how'd your degree prepare you now for the work you're doing with Curtin, maybe beyond understanding just kind of like the research and the policy side, and just kind of elaborating a little bit more on the connection of the education to your work now?
So I would say that the theory of like maritime policy, like before the restructuring to, I don't know what it's called now, but the business and global studies students that were the MPM department, right? Yep. Maritime Policy and Management, understanding how the maritime policy worked before working in the workplace, and then starting from where I started in the shipyard to where I am now having a foundational knowledge of maritime policy it hasn't made anything easier. Like needle gunning is still needle gunning, right? Like painting a boat is still painting a boat, but understanding why an ABS, like why a load line exists and what a load line is, why the International Maritime Organization exists, and SOLAS. And I just took my basic survival training for my my OS last week for my STCW courses, and like understanding why those things exist, I guess, is like the foundational knowledge that global studies and maritime affairs has given me. Additionally, I would say like my unique experience of being on and around the Golden Bear. I think that during my first 2 years at Cal Maritime, I didn't really, other than taking a class on the Golden Bear, I didn't really have a chance to experience what a ship was. And once I did my my internship on the Golden Bear, I found a love of boats and systems, and like I still to this day I know that the Golden Bear has 2 Enterprise R5 medium speed diesel engines, and that is just something that's going to stick with me forever.
Yep.
Probably, and that is translated well to tow boating. I know what kind of engines all our boats have, what kind of gensets. I guess going back to it, on the geopolitical side, in my off time, I own a maritime think tank, and me and my friends look at things that are happening in the geopolitical sphere, and those foundational concepts that Assis and Dr. Ninchik and Dr. Brian Dudley Wade have given myself and my friends have really allowed me to not just understand what's going on in the world, but write about it and have informed discussions with my peers about them as well.
I got you. And now you're just piquing my interest with the think tank stuff. So I got to ask that a little bit about that. Like, you're doing that on the side. And I think talking with a lot of students here, we have quite a few with some entrepreneurial mindsets and, different ways to match their interests with what they're working on. So what do you guys like specifically work on with that? Are you drafting policy proposals for government officials and things like that? Or what does that all entail with?
So a few months ago, I wrote an RFI for the Department of Energy that was like ports as hydrogen hubs. We try not to stay in any sort of rigorous framework and center it around what we are interested in. So, for instance, Rob Sanchez, who also graduated, I think the year before me, also global studies, he was interested in the Central African Republic and the diamond trade. So he ended up writing a paper on that and sort of the policy recommendations to stop blood diamond trading. It really comes down to what we want to research. I hate telling people what to do, and especially my friends, it's not great to tell your friends what to do. And if it piques your interest, I think that you should go ahead and follow it and pursue it. So I wrote my senior thesis on blockchain and how to kind of stop the dark web trading, which is not unnecessarily a maritime policy paper, but Dr. Ninchik let me write it. And I think that is kind of the key behind MP Strategic Group, is we just write and do whatever it is that we want to write about or discuss about. And that has really helped us along. I would say that too, our CEO Martin has impressed upon me that how do you eat an elephant? And that is one bite at a time. So you look at this massive policy paper, you look at a massive government contract, and you need to break it down into actual actionable steps and a realistic timeline. When I first started doing sort of research with my friends, it was very grandiose abstracts, and now we've broken it down into very actionable steps. So awesome. It's just something I've learned since graduating.
Pretty cool. That just because we'll send this out, especially to the GSMA students, want them to hear. So, and I know we were talking before you got on, you do a little bit, you hop on the vessels and we'll check some things out. You maintain your MMC. So just a little bit about to a GSMA student, like what that process is that they probably aren't really thinking about in any way, shape, or form like a licensed track student would.
Yeah, so I think that one of the biggest things that I can say towards, especially global studies students, and I said this when I was in 2 of the CC's classes, were get your MMC. It doesn't actually take anything for you to apply and get your OS rating at all. You already have your TWIC card, or you have to have your TWIC card if you're going on the Golden Bear. And I don't know if students are required to have it, but getting a TWIC card and then getting your Merchant Mariner credential are 2 things that are extremely valuable in this line of work, and you can just do them, and it doesn't take anything to do. Having an MMC has allowed me to go on board our vessels when they need services. We had a tug recently and its radar wasn't doing too hot, and I was able to go out in the morning and fly my drone and take videos of the tug coming in with its massive barge in tow. But it also allows me to hop on the boats and work alongside the guys, which is, the Golden Bear has opened up a love of sailing for me, and I don't think that that's going to stop anytime soon. So I took my basic survival training, and I will continue to. I've got to go do my lifeboatman and then get my seat time enough to sit for my AB and hose pipe my way. So
gotcha. Cool. Very cool. Then, so, you know, in your time at Curtin, what are some of the more relevant, whether it be technical skills, you know, software or things like that you use, and even just like transferable skills that you use in your role that you've taken from Cal Maritime, internship, life, all that kind of stuff?
So I would say that, funny enough, the information something class, the one that the librarians teach, where you learn how Microsoft Word works and Excel. That is some of the, like, I use Microsoft Word and Excel in my day-to-day life. And granted, like I know how to use both of those very proficiently, but the classes that the librarians taught especially were extremely relevant to what I do in my day-to-day. I would say that additionally, the policy side of things, like the maritime policy classes, the Jones Act classes, really are foundational. But the hands-on things, I genuinely feel like global studies students, and especially myself, like I'm a hands-on dude, but global studies students need to get out there and do the hands-on stuff. I know my roommate, his name is Raymond Berry. He also graduated our year, IBL, and he currently works for Harbor Industrial here in the port. As a shipyard superintendent, I think. And he took a welding class as a business student. And just the ability to like go and touch power boats or get on board the vessels, like that is something that's accessible to every global studies student. And I think that they need to be taking advantage of things like that as well.
Nice. Cool. So now, thinking of your job, what is maybe your one favorite or a couple favorite parts of the job? And then what are the most challenging parts of the job?
I would say that my favorite part of the job would be the camaraderie here at work and the non-traditionalness, I guess, of my schedule. That would definitely be my favorite parts, the camaraderie. Everyone here likes to work here, and I like to come here and do what I'm good at, which is computers and fixing things. And that is like I'm allowed to do that, and I kind of have free reign to do that. That is awesome to me. I would say that some of the most challenging parts of my job are also some of the things that I like, which is I like a challenge. I like to understand why things are hard or built a certain way, or why a gearbox has a certain ratio. And those sorts of challenges add new context to your Rolodex, and they also allow you to like fix complex problems. So I love my job, man. Like, it's awesome.
Great. That's what you wanted. That's what we're all looking for, man, for sure. Definitely. A little bit on just like advice to current cadets preparing for application or interview process and starting out on a new job. Just what would you tell them as they're getting ready to go through that, especially maybe thinking of like new grads that are coming up in May?
I would say that especially for global studies students, like a resume is important, right? You may not necessarily have the relevant work experience, but applying for just the narrow scope of government jobs or some sort of shoreside operation leaves the door shut for a lot of other awesome opportunities. And I would say go get your MMC and apply for other positions in the maritime field. There's a lot of interesting positions out there that, especially like in the Port of LA Long Beach, or working for different terminal operators, different ocean going car carriers, ocean going ro-ro operators. I think global studies is interesting because a lot of folks, when you're applying, don't necessarily know. They're like, well, what is that major? Well, the major is kind of, it kind of is what you want from it, right? Like, I ended up taking a more non-traditional route, and I mean, shoot, I needle gun for a month. Like a month straight, pretty much, of just ripping rust off steel. And so, like, apply for a job, maybe not the one you want, but go dip your toe in the industry, go work in it, you know, and show them that, show them what a global studies kid from Cal Maritime can actually do. And I think that's my biggest piece of advice is just go do something in the industry. And if you don't want to work in the maritime industry, then that's okay too. You can work in public policy. You can go work a government job. You can join the military. You can do all of these sorts of things as a global studies student. But I think the most important thing is apply. Like go put yourself out there, because the job's not going to find you, right?
Totally.
Like you have to go find it. And I have my dream job, and I happen to craft it myself.
Yeah, no, and I guess because one thing we run into a lot here with the global studies students is like, well, what, like you were saying, like you're not going to pull up a job posting and it's going to say like Bachelor of Arts in Global Studies and Maritime Affairs. Like that will not exist unless you look at like a few companies. So a lot of times what we talk to them is like, you have to find what you're interested in, which is something that you clearly did. I guess just kind of a closing thing then is, how did you find what you were interested in, or what would, and I know you kind of had this love, you know, going back to 8th grade and stuff like that, but like, if you could even like point to anything where it's like, this is how you can go beyond, and maybe it is just go and experience stuff and try, but you know, what would be your advice there? Because that is something we have questions about a lot.
So I would say that in terms of like finding what you enjoy in work, like for me, I know that I enjoy what I do because when I look up at the clock, I'm not going, oh shoot, it's not 3:30 yet, or oh shoot, it's not 4 o'clock yet. So it's something that envelops you, right? It's something that that takes you in and really it allows you to experience like your inner curiosity, I almost would say, like, and then like while I was at school, I would say that the thing that I wish I had done when I was at Cal Maritime more is like, man, I wish I had played less video games. I wish I had to explore, but like, it's not at a certain point I had to wake up and look and be like, I'm not being forced to do this. No one is making me be here. No one is making me wear these uniforms. Like I wanted to be here. Right. And that's the same with the working world. Like I want to show up every single day and do my best work and prove my worth and learn new things and get a higher license. So you have to want it, right? Like there's things in this world that are not given to you. And if you go out there and take them, you will be a better person. You will learn more, and you will end up working harder, and you don't even feel like you work. I don't feel like I work, man. And I mean, I show up every single day and I bust my ass, but like, I don't feel like I do. And
but it's not just punching the clock for you. It's just going and doing the things that you want.
So finding what you enjoy, and experiencing new things and I think stepping out of your comfort zone. I'm very much a homebody. I like sitting at my house when I'm off. And then I came to the realization that Long Beach is a really rad place and I need to get out more. So that sort of thing where it's maybe applying for a job that you don't think you're going to get, or applying for a job in a field that interests you, and work it for a year and figure out if that's something that you enjoy, or maybe you don't enjoy it and you don't want to work in the maritime industry and you do want to do a different career path, and that's okay too. But yeah, just get out of your comfort zone, man.
Cool. No, I dude, honestly, I think that's great advice. And I think the specific one you said of like, you're in college and no one's going to make you do anything per se. And just, you got to go experience, because we're not going to know things until we actually try it. Like we can think about it all we want, but you don't know until you're really immersed in it and give it a shot. So cool. Well, thanks. That's all I got. You got any last closing remarks?
Curtin Maritime is hiring. curtinmaritime.com/jobs.
There we go.
If you're a global studies student, you can hit me up, and I will. I can't promise you a job, but I can at least promise you a little bit of advice and see if you can't experience a career that you never thought was possible. So awesome,
Ryan. We'll appreciate that. We'll link Ryan's email in the show notes if you want to reach out to him. He's going to be here at the career fair on March 3rd. So definitely stop by and say hi, not just license track students too. Clearly, if you want to make something happen, go and ask people, and not only will it be Ryan, but other people at other companies too. If you show interest, they're willing to even try and point you in the right direction. People love enthusiasm. So
Cal Maritime is in fact a great place to be from. I can tell you that. I run into alumni everywhere, and it has helped me in my professional career, I think, more than I gave it credit for. So
awesome. Good to hear. Well, thank you again, Ryan. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. See y'all later.
And remember, you can always find all of our Konnecting Keelhauler episodes on the Cal Maritime YouTube page, on the Career Services webpage under the Konnecting Keelhaulers tab. And if you want to listen to the audio version only, go on to Spotify, Konnecting Keelhaulers, subscribe. You'll get all the notifications when we post a new episode. Try and get one out at least every week. So thanks for listening.